just your collar. It's going live. Don't go out tonight. Let's show what a digger life. There's a bad moon on the rise. It's cold tonight. You can hear the wolves in the background. Woo! No, it's just me. Sounded good though. There's a moth. Man moth.
Man moth.
So we're having a cuppa and a quick hangout.
It's cold.
It is bitterly cold. And it's cold. It's freezing. What's been happening on YouTube? I've been blissfully ignorant. I imagine it's the same stuff on a different day. She said, he said, someone asking for money, more money, give me money. Doesn't really change. That's why I like catching up with just normal people and having a chat. Hopefully this is the last of the cold weather here. Beautiful days, 24, 26. It's going to go down to 1 tomorrow morning. That's cold. The last hanging ons of winter. And that grass is getting tall in the backyard, mind you. The bulldozer should fix that next week. That's one way to mow your lawn. Get an 18-ton, or it could be a big bobcat actually, depends. It will depend. Hello Susan. Hope you're having a good start to your day. Ours is coming to a close. The update I have on Vinny, if anyone's interested, is Vinny will be going into rehab, the rehab part of the hospital. Will be undergoing strategic tests to see where they can help him, which is good. I know he's been in and out of different hangouts, chatting to people. He'll be doing that a lot more. That's probably, you never know what life's going to throw at you. I've got the philosophy that shit happens, and yeah, that's just a fact of life, and guaranteed. Further down your life, more shit will happen. But there's lots of good stuff in between. So it's like, I remember reading a book about analogies and how things happen and turning them into metaphors, etc. Quite boring, but it did come up with one good saying where you cut your finger once and it was painful and it bled and it was a pain for a couple of weeks because you kept catching it. Well, it heals, but sure as eggs, the future will have another cut finger for you. Nothing we can do about it. It's just how it unfolds. Stay away from knives, I suppose. But it's just an analogy that life is full of all these little cuts, wounds and injuries and unexpected illnesses, and then hopefully we get through them and we have another crack at life. Doesn't get much more simpler than that. There is no golden path that you can follow that will give you forever happiness and you don't have any issues or problems. That's not how it works. We are from time to time expected to hit the As Jim Leahy used to say, the shitstorm, I can smell it in the air. Just if you can avoid most of it, is the best. Or, better, not repeat the same ones that you've done before, like don't keep cutting your finger. Don't know how many times I've cut my fingers. Many, over many years, and I'm sure I'm going to cut my finger again. Such a precious thing, life. You know, hello Sids, I used to do some therapy years ago, physical therapy with chairs and beds and different apparatus, and help people with arthritic was in there. And it was about a month after he got the chair, he called me back and he said, you know, it doesn't mean much, but he said, I'm 90 and this has made a huge difference in my life. I can actually go for a little walk now and take the dog out the back for a wee and things like that. And it all sounds so trivial, but to someone who really couldn't get about at all, I mean, his biggest problem, he couldn't get out of his chair. He'd have to call his daughter and she'd come round and she'd say, for God's sake, get a chair. So he got this chair, he got this therapy, circulation was slightly improved. He lived about another 3 or 4 years and he did pass away. But the small things that made a big difference in his life were just the ability to go outside, take his dog out the back for a wee. He had a doggy door and everything, so the dog could do it for himself. Is it buffering, is it? It's cold here, said, so maybe the buffering's due to thematic conditions. But yeah, I've always looked at that conversation I had with that guy, that was many years ago. And I thought, he's right, there's such the small things in life that we take for granted when they go on, as like ability to get mobility or walk, or even walk a long distance. When you can get a little bit back, maybe you lose a bit of weight or you get some therapy that helps. But I don't know. Sometimes we all want the big things to be in our lives. Like we want to win the lottery and we want to have everlasting happiness and all those things. We all would love that. Am I still buffering, am I? I'll move the camera. Maybe that helps. I don't know. But I think what we should do is be grateful for what we have. And that can be good health, it can be wealth, it can be all different sorts of things. Love. But it's like a lot of people live a miserable life, and there are things you can do. Little things like, you know, the neighbour that's infirm and no one talks to him, maybe just pop over with a carrot cake and say, would you like a cup of tea? And I can tell you, that old person that's infirm and living in that home next to you that you don't normally talk to, it's not going to expect you to come over every day after that. But it's like, it's a big thing. An old person has no one in their lives, has someone visit them, bring a cake, a bit of a smile and a laugh. They're the big things in life for people who don't have anything. And the biggest thing you can ever give anyone, it's not money. I've always said this, it's your time. It is so precious. You don't get it back. Sids is a giver. And if we're on a deserted island, it was just me and Sids. She'd do all the cooking. I'd just be lying under a palm tree because she's a giver. No, we'd be fighting over the rocks to make the fight about who's cooking the coconuts tonight. But makes a big difference just saying hello. You know, it's one of the... I notice we do it all the time. You have a chat with people you don't even know, and they get a great thrill. I did tell you that story about this old lady who stalks me in the supermarket. I mean, an old lady, she's short, and every time I'm in an aisle, she said, oh, can you get that thing down from the top? I don't think she needs any of the things I get down from the top shelf, but then she's like, oh, how's the wife? Yeah, good. Kids? Yeah, good. She just wants a little bit of my time, and I give it to her. And then I run. No. You know what I'm saying. Just the smallest of generosity comes in actually giving people your time, not your money. You may know someone who's in need of money. You give them money. And they might have problems, but all you're doing is giving someone with a problem money. Because money does not fix things. Susan, if I gave you an example, if I gave you $20 billion today, you always have too much money. but it wouldn't change you. And a lot of people say, oh yeah, money changes people. Well, it does in the things you can get and buy and have, but it doesn't change you.
Excuse me.
Here comes the coffee.
Hi. Dressing gown.
But I stay away, and I don't harp on about it, but I stay away from channels that have got dollar signs. It just brings grief. No one could name a channel for me that has a dollar sign in one form or another collecting money that there isn't grief associated with the channel. Hatred, jealousy, anger. It's like I've just said, money doesn't solve things. Time. If you spend time, like if I go to Sid's channel and we talk, we chat, she doesn't expect me to give her any money, and it's like just good people coming together. It's something I think that is missed in the modern world of media, where people not only expect your attendance, but your money. Like, if you love me, you'll send me money. You've probably heard that before from someone else, not me. But it is sad because, hello Vinny, hope you're doing well, mate. I did relay a little bit of info that I found out that you're heading to rehab next week, which is good.
Hey, Vinny.
You're going to be bored shitless, of course. You'll be like one of them, you know when you pull a wing off a fly, Vinny, and it spins around on the floor? That's you.
Nah,
That's what you're going to be like for the next couple of months.
He'll be busy getting better, so you can come back and cause havoc on YouTube.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. In fact, he's got all the access within the hospital just to be on YouTube even more.
Oh my god.
I bet he'll have the nurses on there shortly.
Vinny, what a cool stream that would be. From the hospital, Vinny, yeah. Wheelchair
Hello,
races.
Denny.
I remember when I worked in the nursing home, we had to actually sit in a wheelchair for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We had to do what patients had to go through. I tell you.
I did that once. In the prison, we used to have like 5 or 6 wheelchairs. Night shift, when everyone's gone to bed, me and my mate used to race up and down.
Yeah, that's a good... It sucks. I thought it was a good one, Vinny.
Yeah, I know where you were, Vinny.
No, but the rehab he's talking about.
Yeah, you'll be in good hands there. Have they talked about any water therapy? Just curious, because I used to be in therapy for many years. One of the best things for movement after a stroke is to be in water. So I'm not sure whether that's part of the therapy that's coming your way. I hope it's a lot warmer than it is here. It's 1 degree here tomorrow morning, mate. You don't want to go in the pool here.
I have a good day then, Danny G.
See you, Danny.
She's coming and going. It'll be good to I don't know if you like writing, Vinny. Just
Writing what?
well, write down your experiences. You'd be surprised how many people are interested in actually knowing because everybody goes through different things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a true believer that the past sometimes drags you down. Kingston therapy. Yep.
Like, document what...
I mean, let's talk about Vinny in the last few years. Crunched by a vehicle. Massive injuries. And it is more than likely associated with what's happening now.
And then your ankle, wasn't it, Vinny?
Yeah, I think I said at the time when someone said Vinny's done his ankle, and I said, is it on his bad leg? They said, yeah. I said, well, that's good. At least all the shit's on one leg. But it's a road, mate. A long and winding bastard.
But apart from all that, how are you otherwise?
Oh, he'd be bored.
Yeah, it's associated.
I had a mate of mine, Vinny, who was caught in the back end of a trailer flap. You know, he was trying to knock it to get the shit out. It hit him on the back of the right shoulder near the neck, and it knocked him out. No head injury at all. And about 5 years later, super fit guy. I mean, he was about 26 when he happened, so he was about 31. He had 3 strokes within the week. And the doctor said, definitely associated with your injury. In other words, that little bauble of whatever it was resting up inside his brain had been there for quite a while. And no one is immune to getting a stroke at all. Healthy people. I played cricket with a friend of mine on the. He played on a different side, but he took a catch and then he just rolled over, and people thought he was just like being a bit of a wag. He was unconscious. They took him to hospital and he died. He had a clot go to the heart. Super fit. I think any of this can't happen to anyone. No one's immune to it. No matter whether you eat healthy, live in the best environment, your body is just what it is.
But you are healing quick, Vinny. It's good. So you're stronger than you think.
Oh, it's a road. But he's a tough bastard, and only the good die young, so he's fucked for another 30 years.
Yep, that's right. 40 years.
He's still a puppy. I do know you're going to be restricted for quite a while from flying. It's one of the things that is a pain in the ass.
No, I think Vinny's doing really good.
Oh, look, I'll guarantee it. The only thing that Vinny will be in the next few months is bored, shitless. Things won't be happening fast enough. They'll be snapping at everyone, as I would be. I'd be the same, thinking, I don't want to be in here. He's just got to do what he's got to do. I don't know how cold it is in Victoria at the moment. It's bloody freezing here. Like I said, 1 degree tomorrow morning. That is cold. I did leave Vinny a message yesterday, but he's too busy talking to all his online girlfriends, so I didn't get a reply. Obviously, I haven't got a skirt. That's how it goes.
He's got nurses.
He's got a list. He's got seats. Nah, fuck him. There's 30 women trying to call me.
He's got nurses
Who the
to
fuck
look
sees?
at.
Nurses can be a bit mean sometimes, though. Make sure they don't unplug your battery. I hope you've got a couple of
Battery
portable packs in there, Vinny. That's what you do need. But they might limit the amount of monitors and computers you bring in. I don't think you're going to have the same setup in there.
Look, if we could organise it, I'd bring all your stuff from your house to the hospital.
Do you want a scary story, Susan? Life's pretty fucking scary. In fact, it's probably, the old truth is that truth is usually more weird than fiction. Some of the things that have happened in Vinny's life, in my life, if I told you the true stories, you'd be saying, oh, yeah, sure, that happened, Siege. You got killed twice, blah, blah, blah. You got shivved in prison, yeah. So I don't bother, because it's...
I think she means like your story.
Yeah, no, I'll be doing some in the near future.
It's all right. I've got him back on track. He drifts
Yeah,
off sometimes,
yeah.
Susan.
But life is really scary. It's like I've never feared the dead or ghosts or spirits or whatever you call them, because I've never read a newspaper that says Susan Brown slaughtered by 9 furry ghosts. It won't happen. It's the living you have to look out for. They're the ones that you've got to worry about. But I will be doing quite a few shortly. Well, when I say shortly, in the next few months. I've set my mind on a few stories that I've had for years. And I probably have to start, what do you call it when you categorise on your channel?
Listening? Because I know we're buffering.
Probably had a young nurse come in, and he keeps dropping things on the floor. Can you pick that up for me, nurse? Oh, somebody dropped another one, nurse.
Yeah, I think that's...
We're buffering? Oh,
Yeah, we were.
sorry about that.
I don't know.
You know what would be funny? This would be really funny. If Vinny did a live hangout,
Buffing.
and if Vinny turns around to the nurses and say, I'm an international celebrity on YouTube. Do you want to be famous? Come over here.
Oh my God.
I'd piss myself laughing.
No, but I know it's probably boring for you, Vinny, but it'd be interesting if you wrote things down or did little videos, like a little diary of what's happening. Well, It's not that I want to pry or people want to pry. It's just people like to watch that sort of thing if they've got a family member going through the same thing or they themselves went through it, because everybody's different.
You got to tell Susan the story. She says, "Tell us the story."
Tell us the story.
Mm.
What can I say? Well, when I went to the toilet once when we were looking after my mum and we had to use an outside toilet, and I went to use the toilet paper, this damn big huntsman came out from between the sheets of toilet paper, and I've got proof.
He's
What
got
do
a
people
video.
call it? I've got receipts because there's a video of it on Seed's channel.
Are you still there, Vincent? Your people want to know.
Could be a lot of lagging because we're buffering.
Well, there's probably someone else started to hang up and he's gone there to annoy them.
Yeah, of course he goes round.
Here's a little song for you, Vinny, if you are listening. I won't sing it loud.
Yeah, there's the lag. Yeah, don't sing it loud.
When you walk in a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid. I'm forgetting afterwards. At the end of a storm, there's a golden. Hello, Jinx. Yeah, like I say, I don't follow many channels now. It's too much nonsense. I
No,
prefer
we've
to
been
have
busy anyway.
paddywhack with a few good people, have a laugh. I will be inviting some of you when I get my new computer, which I can get any time I like. I just haven't bothered.
No, it's because he couldn't be bothered to try and work out what he wants. So I'm going to have to push him, and I will have to do it and get him to get the computer.
And then I will invite some of you on, just a few at a time, for a live hangout. Because interaction with just me speaking or my wife, we can see what you type, but I'd much prefer to see and hear your story, because you know that's what we all are. We're all each an individual story, and it's all unique and it's all just you, and everybody's important as far as your story. A lot of stories aren't good, a lot of stories are fantastic.
Well, tomorrow we have lunch.
Yes, that is good. If you are going to the...
We're going to a German restaurant in the city with the kids, with the family. So, I don't know if we'll do a live there or you do a little video of it.
I don't know, I'm just looking forward to my schnitzel.
We haven't been there, so it could be interesting.
And I'm not driving, so I can have a nice little Dunkel, which is black German beer. That's not fancy. Just catching up with all the kids, so looking for that. And I don't have to cook. Actually, I made a lamb and vegetable soup the other day, and everyone's like, from the US in particular, go, "Oh, I don't know about lamb. Does it taste like mutton?" It doesn't. It's totally different. So I've given up. I'm just going to now make a very similar soup, thick soup, but it'll be chicken and vegetable soup. Still be nice, and then most of the Americans will get it. But when you mention the word lamb, they go, "What's that?"
I'm sure they have lamb over there.
Oh, I like my pies. In Australia, Jinx, particularly come footy season, like our stadium, we went to a football match recently. There was 50,000 people there and about 70,000 pies sold. So some had more than one. Soggy Bottom.
Was one of those people.
Well, you were at the game, were you?
No, he's talking about your lamb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because we eat lamb when we can because it's expensive, but it's really yum.
Well, we'll just do a video on lamb, show them what we got down the shop and different things you can do with it.
I've done lamb roast.
No, but you...
You like lamb cutlets.
Yeah, but dead. Like, I like them so dead that the fat is so crispy.
I can just imagine going to the high-class restaurant, say in Paris, and they're making crouton-covered lamb cutlets. And they came out, she says, "Nah, not dead enough, mate. Take them back.
Oh, I don't
Shoot
like,
them again."
I do not like any blood in my meat. I want my meat dead when I eat it.
It's funny, you know, I've had a lot of people over the years who've never had lamb, particularly when you make lamb cutlets.
Oh, I got it.
They eat the lot. They go, unbelievable. It's got a real nice taste. But it's like,
Well, even big sheep are woolly, so
yeah, I mean, lamb is a baby sheep up to about 14 months old. Things change. They've allowed New Zealand and Australian lamb to go to, I think, 16 months. But it's usually younger than that, other words. Not tiny baby lambs, they're big buggers. But the meat is so tender. I'm sure if someone did a marketing campaign in the US, you wouldn't be able to find any because everyone would want it. But yes, we're off to a German restaurant tomorrow. What time are we going there?
be there at 1.
1 o'clock. Couple of Steinlagers. Well, just maybe a big beer. I'll have one. And then early next week, hopefully we'll see some machinery come out the back here. Bit of action.
Oh, no, better not.
Well,
I can't film any eye candy for the girls like Vinny did
for
because, like, guys,
yeah, I can imagine.
workmen, Aussie workmen, you know,
Why would you want to do that for the girls?
eye candy.
Because these women in here are cultured, and they're not thinking of those type of things. Jinx cancers sheep in her sleep. I actually did a video of one of that years ago. Just bah,
Bratwurst,
bratwurst,
yeah.
borscht.
Borscht.
They, as you know, Soggy, most Germans have bread for breakfast, coffee, and a tasse cafe, and maybe bagel.
No,
It's mainly just bread, though.
they don't really have bagel in Germany.
Well, they did. They had a big bagel shop in Stuttgart. But
It's
like I say, that's
mainly-
a fad, I think. Yep.
Oh God,
so
I
is
love
Mystic.
my bread. Oh yeah.
We'd probably get 2 loaves of bread a week, and I would have about 4 slices.
Oh, you're a nun,
Jinx
Jinx.
is a nun.
Okay.
The Immaculate Bitch Sisterhood. Nothing, a little bit of re-education wouldn't fix Jinx. I'll see you outside my office at 4. Bring a clipboard.
I could eat.
I want you
bread.
to take something down.
Stop being cheeky. Just lucky that they know your sense of humour. I could eat bread with anything. Toast. Smell toast. Doesn't matter what time of the day. I can eat it. Oh, yum.
2 things for me when they're cooking that I just can't help myself. If someone cooks onions and garlic,
Together, yeah.
it's like, oh boy. And then if someone cooks bacon, I'm like a bloodhound. I want to find out where that's coming from.
Oh, I like all sorts of bread with unsalted butter and a slab of cheese. Oh, yeah, that's the German coming out in me.
Yeah, but you don't like blue cheese, do you?
Oh God, no, not blue cheese. No.
Blue cheese makes a wonderful sauce. If you've ever had blue cheese, there's 2 types. There's one very mature and there's one that's quite young. And the younger one, you just put little dabs and bits into a pan on a very low heat. Slowly melt the blue cheese, add a little bit of cream, and that is a magnificent sauce on anything. Seafood, steak. But a lot of people go, because the blue cheese goes into the pan with all the blue veins, but disappears when you melt it.
Yep, that's it, Soggy. That's the way to do it.
We have unsalted butter as a rule.
I've got to say, I like a bit of salt in the butter if I'm having, now what do you call it? I call it fly bread. Fruit bread. Do you know bread that's got sultanas in it and you toast it?
Raisin toast.
That's it, raisin toast. And on crumpets, I like a little bit of salted butter.
Well, I mean, Jinx, for me, those two things you mentioned, garlic and onion, are nature's gift to us. It helps you with your immune system. And you don't have to believe me, but scientists even say that is a fact. The enzymes in garlic and onions are beneficial
But isn't it?
for your immune system.
Yeah, but isn't it funny though? Like you eat garlic, and you can't smell it on yourself, obviously. And if you and I eat garlic together,
Camera got a bit of drip happening.
you can't smell it. But if you haven't had garlic and someone else has, depending how much they had, it can be so overpowering.
It
can't
doesn't
it?
bother me. I like any strength of garlic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Sid. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Sid's ate garlic and I didn't, and he ate like a whole clove of it, like.
A lot of people make a mistake in cooking, Sids, when they use garlic. They use it late, and they'll put it in, and then they go, "Oh, this garlic's really strong." It's because you're supposed to cook it. It's like spices, and
Yum. So
in cooking, you must work them through.
what's that? Well, we have it.
Oh, baked garlic is so sweet. It's just yum.
But we have a thing where we eat like I suppose I don't know what do people call it, ploughman's lunch, where you have a bit of cheese, bit of bread.
Cheese, bread, pickles, could be a bit of pork pie.
Yeah, but then we also cut up onion and garlic
Yep.
raw and put it on and eat it like that too.
If you want to get fancy, I'll tell you in a big restaurant, in a fancy restaurant, how they make your garlic toast is they'll use some sort of sourdough sliced, and it's toasted slowly, so it has that really evenly brown thing. And then you get a clove of garlic, cut it in half, and you rub it on the toast. You literally use the toast like a bit of sandpaper, and you rub it all over. Not hard, you just rub it, and that makes really fancy garlic bread. Me, I prefer to have it smothered in butter,
And garlic.
garlic, a little bit of
dripping.
parsley,
Yeah. And then
oozing.
in
But
the
in a
oven,
fancy restaurant, they do it the way I just said.
make the bread nice and crispy. Oh, yum.
Hello, Oz. Yeah, so garlic for me, I've always believed. I mean, I've had a cold and I've just about killed it now. I'm on top of it.
No, but it was a
Couple of
bad one.
weeks.
You got to say it was a bad
But I
one.
mean, most of my colds come from my grandchildren. I've got to be honest with you. We had one of our grandsons over here for about a week and he was pretty bad. And yeah, so you get it.
But just garlic on anything, yum.
I think garlic and butter in a
You-
fry pan
you
is
fry-
heaven. It's just, you can cook anything. Prawns,
It's
shrimp.
like when you make fried potatoes. Add onion and garlic halfway through. Fry it then with the potatoes. Oh my god, that is so yum. Again, with a nice crispy slice
It's
of
like
bread.
when I make my garlic prawns, they're cooked in a very hot cast iron pan in butter, and about halfway through I grate garlic all the way through it. So it's garlic prawns, garlic shrimp. And then at the very last minute I turn the heat off and I'll add a bit of cream. So you got like a dozen shrimp in there, big ones, and got the garlic and the cream, maybe a crack of black pepper on top. Just, it's all so simple and it's so delicious. It's like all these fancy sauces that you hear about, they're very easy to make. When I was a kid, my grandfather used to always get the lard from the beef, and if we didn't get to eat it, he'd save it, and he'd make fried bread in the morning. There was no garlic in the UK when I was a kid, none at all, in the 60s. But he'd make... It's like one of the friends of mine I used to live next to, she used to make a cob loaf, so it's a hard crusted loaf, and she'd dig out all the centre, you know, cut the top off, but she'd tear out the centre so it was all lumpy, and then add a bit of olive oil and a bit of garlic with it and whatever. But then she'd make the cream cheese dip, like with onion, cream cheese, bit of cottage
Yeah, but
cheese,
then
bit of blue
baked it.
cheese. So all that oozy thick cheese is in there, and all these bits that she pulled out she baked,
That's right.
and
yeah.
they were like the dipping bits, and it was just sensational. Very simple.
Yeah, garlic.
No, that's right. It was introduced to me in the very early 70s. I used to have an Italian friend, and his father was really nice man. Always seemed grumpy, but he was really, really loving and caring. And I went round there once for bacon and eggs. And I thought, oh, well, I know what bacon and eggs is. Well, the plate was floating with olive oil. Bacon was about ½ inch thick. Eggs were poached, and I'd never had a poached egg before. And masses of homemade bread. And I thought, oh, I'll give it a go. I loved it. I was sold on the garlic in the very early 70s.
I will make him, Susan.
What's that?
Make you tell a story. She says, tell us a story next week.
The story of Susan Brown. Tonight's story is brought to you by Omo. Remember, when you're going to clean something, use your Omo. Susan Brown was a librarian working in a very small town in the United States. Just an average woman doing the best she could with what she had. She got in her car one night. It was late. She'd stayed behind to catalogue a lot of the new books that had come in. The power went out. She thought, I'd better go home now. That's a bit scary. So she went out to her car and Susan put the keys in the ignition.
You're buffering.
Susan was a little alarmed. It was 4 miles to her home, but she wasn't going to stay there. The lights in the library had gone out. No one else was there. The boom gate was even down, so she probably couldn't have got a car out anyway. But Susan stuck to the road, and even though it would have been quicker to cross the paddock to get to her village, she thought, I'll stick to the road just in case. Susan walked for a while, and then suddenly one of the heels on her high heels, because Susan was a very classy woman, and she had these 9-inch stilettos. So because one broke, she had to take one of the, one of the shoes off, and she thought, I can't hop along with the other one. So she took the other off. She put them under her arm, and she could hear some strange noises in the fields alongside the road. She quickened her pace. She was no more than probably a mile from the village. She could see some of the lanterns that were still on, because this was a long time ago, 1860. Susan's, not young anymore. However, she got to the edge of the village, and there was noise in the fields, like I said, next to her, and there was a growling sound. That made Susan walk a lot quicker. In fact, she burst into a bit of a speed running. She got to the edge of the village, and there, on the corner of the village, was an old man with a staff. And he said, "Good evening, Susan." And Susan said, "How you going, mate, all right?"
Oh, she's Aussie. She's an Aussie now.
I just thought I'd make that up.
Okay.
He said, "You seem a little frightened. Is it the noises from the fields that scare you?" And she looked at him. She'd never seen this old man before. He was holding a very long staff, and then in the moonlight she could see it was a scythe. She thought to herself, "Is this death come to get me?" Anyway, no, it was just a fancy dress party, and he took her home in her car, and everything worked out well. Susan got a lucky break. Omo. Remember to wash your clothes with Omo to get that whiteness whiter than white. We'll take you back now to normal programming.
My country's not done fishing for a while. It's had sore legs, and they think it's bad varicose veins.
Oh, that's no good, mate.
Yeah, stay away from the old men, Susan.
Stick to the road, Susan. I don't know if you've got any heated pools around your high country. One of the things, I've had leg injuries and problems myself in the past, and I used to walk up to about waist height in water, which means I got to exercise my legs without the weight of my body.
No, that's not going to help varicose veins.
No, well, it will help to get circulation, because that's what he suffers from, is a poor circulation. Varicose veins don't happen overnight.
Yeah, no high heels, Susan. Just be aware. No high heels, and beware of men with staffs that look like seeds.
I think Susan was looking at his staff for a while too.
Stop.
But Susan's a good girl. She just wanted to get home. Yeah, it does sound like a bit of a circulation problem. I used to be in therapy, And like I say, if they're external varicose veins, which is peripheral, in other words, they're seen on the outside of the leg, they're on the inside of the leg as well, as you obviously are aware.
Sometimes it takes that you might need to have them removed high.
It could, I mean, walking can be a problem because it's painful. And there is medication for it. No, I'm not going to prescribe it, but there is some stuff you can take high. Next week's ghost story is about soggy bottom girls.
And bread.
I'm not sure how I'm going to fit bread into the story, but... I had a friend who had to have a vein removed. He had an injury playing sport, got several varicose veins up near his quad, and down into his calf, and one of them had to be removed because it was causing all sorts of problems. And after that, his varicose veins disappeared. And a lot of times what the body's vessels do is if there's a problem in a certain area, it will actually create new avenues for the smaller blood vessels to go.
And the moral of the story is too much sport. See how dangerous sport can be? You were so athletic and into sport all your years.
No, you can't miss that high.
And so many injuries.
There are some very good fitting long compression socks. I'm not joking. I'm serious.
No, I was
compression
laughing
socks,
at
high
that.
country. Look, go to your chemist, explain what's going on, and he'll know what I've told you, and that is compression socks. So you can put them on, and they certainly help you.
Hey VMAC.
Hello, VMAC. Mr. and Mrs. Mystic Angels. I've been put to the back
Good.
burner.
Yeah, because VMAC's me mate. She's got a chocolate fountain. If you don't behave, I'll move in with her.
They do help. It's like when I had an operation, I had to wear them when I was flying. And it certainly helped. You feel a bit funny when you wear them, but they certainly do the job. It helps in supporting the vascular structure within the leg.
Yeah, they recommend to wear them when you've got long haul flights too.
Mm.
Sid's needs a good recipe. What recipe?
Do you want something simple or you want something complicated? Sids.
Remember, Sid, you're
Sids
doing...
is an excellent chef, so I'm no frightening giving her a hard one.
No, Sid's is a good cook, but Sid, you're doing keto, aren't you? Oh, you'd vary it if whatever recipe Sids gives you, I suppose, wouldn't you?
What about beef scallopini or, I was going to say lamb scallopini, but that's not going to go.
All complicated.
Beef scallopini. Actually, one you would like. You like seafood, don't you, Sids? I'm going to do this one shortly. I think that's yeah, not ooh-yeah. Ooh-yeah. Well, I'm going to do you call them shrimp, but we call them prawns. They're a decent sized prawn. And they're raw, and I make a batter up, and I shallow fry them. I flip them over till they're cooked. Then I put them into a big stainless steel bowl that I have, and I add honey at the end, so they're crispy. I add honey and a little bit of sesame seed. During that process, I've already made a homemade stir-fried rice, and that, you love that, don't you, yourself?
Mm.
Stir-fried rice and honey sesame prawns. It's not complicated. You know how to make batters. You want to make a batter that's not thick, not thin.
So
and
just
you don't
right.
put anything on the shrimp. It's got to be raw and thawed, so it's ready just to be dipped in. You can have tails on if you like. I have the ones that don't have any tail on, no skeleton at all, because the wife doesn't like that.
No.
But honey sesame prawns, you can do exactly the same thing with chicken, but I can tell you that the prawn one is just yum.
And when Seeds makes
A bit thicker than tempura, so that's what I'm trying to say. Like very thick cream, but it'll drip. Tempura is a bit thin. The batter I make, gives a nice coating, quite a thick coating, and it's really crunchy. They don't last. If my kids are here and I make it, I'm done. You can make a tempura batter and do it that way if you like, but I prefer the batter a little bit thicker. It's like having fish and chips, but with shrimp. But I can eat about 8 or 9 of them and they fill me up because they're about, 2 or 3 inches long, the shrimp.
Then you do the same with pork. You cut it into cubes,
Yep, you can do
cook it.
pork, chicken.
You cook pork though, then batter it and fry
Yeah.
it.
One of the foods you have to be careful with is pork. Now you'll see people, fancy chefs, do pork that is cooked, not medium rare, but is medium, and there's a danger with pork. You must cook pork beyond a certain temperature. So don't mess around with pork. One of our favourite dishes that I make is a pork schnitzel, which is usually Scotch fillet, which has got a bit of fat in it. And it comes about 3 or 4 inches round and about 3/4 inches deep. So what I do is I batter it out with a hammer, and then I flour, egg and breadcrumb it, and that is yum. Pork schnitzel. Actually, I might have one tomorrow. I'm looking for a Wiener Schnitzel tomorrow when we go to this German restaurant. Pork's good for you.
So you live in the...
You know, great shrimp down in Louisiana. Yeah, we catch them in a bayou, and then we do a little bit of a cook, and we
Or you
throw
could
in
do a scary story of
all sorts of damn things in this pot, and they call it gumbo. And it's, I remember having gumbo one night when this old man was on the corner with the lady Susan was walking past.
with the high heels on.
Yeah, one high heel broken apparently. So we're cooking a gumbo, just laughing at this lady because she's a little bit scared. But I said to my friend Banjo, well, you should invite her over for a meal one night. She looks like a real nice lady. Gumbo's good.
No, it's not. Well, that's my opinion. I don't like gumbo.
She doesn't like spice.
You could do a scary story on snapping turtles.
Snapping turtles.
I mean, those things are scary.
Yes.
Do a shawarma. You can't have any one spot of green anywhere on the plate. What?
That's right.
Okay.
No such thing as a vegetable with a shawarma eater.
Isn't there?
No.
But isn't there vegetables in shawarma?
No, just protein and carbs. That's all we want. Put
I
that
thought-
green stuff to the side. Put it in the damn bin. I don't want that stuff. Damn it.
I thought there was salad on a shawarma.
My shawarma. Yeah, you can make gumbo not spicy, but I don't see the point, Sid's. Deb, I prefer to have a bit of kick in mine.
Had a snapper in my yard after the rain. Are they really that vicious, those snapping turtles?
I'd take your finger off, I reckon, easy. But we've got big bloody turtles there too.
No, what I don't like about gumbo is all the fish that
I
goes
don't mind
in
the
it.
heat in anything. I mean, I grow all sorts of different chilies. I prefer a milder chili because the wife won't eat anything if I put anything hotter in there. Like if I make a curry, I've got to make two. One mild, lovely tasting one that she'll eat,
Yep.
and then one kick-ass one that I like to eat. Because if you've watched any of my videos, I'm always putting chili sauce on anything I generally have because I can add the heat to my plate, but I can't take it out of the dish, and the wife wouldn't eat it.
No, gumbo's got all bits of fish in it, hasn't it? And you just cook it.
Crocodile, alligator,
No,
fish,
I would try crocodile
all sorts of
and all
meats. You
that.
can make it with all sorts, sausage. I don't think there is, even though the occasional would say otherwise, I don't think there's a standard gumbo. I'm pretty sure that everyone has their own little take on it, which is how it should be.
I said they're not aggressive. I thought they were. I have to do a bit of reading up on snapping turtles. Then you can do a good story for Susan.
Yep. Yeah, most, as you know, Soggy, whenever you're going to thicken anything, it's usually near the end of the process, like good old corn flour and water mixed together makes everything a little bit thicker. It's good for, a lot of Chinese restaurants use corn flour to thicken their sauces.
Another good way.
But no one would ever know this It's an insider secret.
You can thicken things by forgetting about it too.
You can thicken things by forgetting about it. You can scrape it off in the morning.
Yep, like I've done.
You made a Dundee burger where you had Croc and his burgers. I've had Croc before. I wouldn't rave about it. It's a bit like fish, if you like. It's different, but it's a bit like fish. I mean, I've watched a few of Tuozzi's videos, and he just tends to mainly buy takeaway, which I'm not knocking him. It's just that it doesn't really interest me much.
Oh, I have to have a look if our shop sells that sort of meat. I know
Sassafras.
it sells. I
What?
said.
Croc.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get Croc if you want it.
I know we've got a section of kangaroo meat.
Yeah, we have a big section of kangaroo meat. Kangaroo meat's very lean, great for stir fries, kebabs.
It's alright, Lee Mac. My talking's the same as your typing.
Old Bay. I'm going to actually make Old Bay spice.
Yeah, because
they don't have it in Australia,
No, Awesome gave you the recipe for it.
and I'm pretty good at making up a spice mix.
Yeah, you use Awesome's one.
Yeah, I've seen him cook some stuff on his... the funniest one I saw him cook, I just popped in quickly, and he was cooking, I think, a steak, and he moved it to one side, and the whole bloody pan fell over, and he couldn't help himself. He grabbed the hot pan. So, he does okay. I mean, he's no chef, there's no questions there. But he certainly likes a bit of a laugh and talking to people. There's nothing wrong with that.
So do you want Awesome's recipe? Is that what you're saying?
For
the Old Bay.
I don't know where you put it, but we've got it somewhere.
I've got it on my phone.
Yeah, I laughed once. I thought, you silly bugger. It's not a real safe way to cook with that big thing over the top of a bone-turn.
Yep, I can. I got Awesome's one.
Yeah, no,
I can email it
I would
to
never
you.
knock him high. He just does what he thinks is best. He does like his mayonnaise. I don't generally cook with salt. I always figure people, if they think it needs a bit of salt on their plate, they can add it. Rarely. I
Yep.
season meat. I do salt and pepper to season meat, but that's the way of actually finishing off a seal. But generally don't put any salt in. Yep, she'll email it to you. Hello, Ellabella.
No, that's the wrong way. She doesn't like it like that. It's not the same.
Oh, God.
See, you are so slack. That's the other thing. You promised Ella a whole video on the knees. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Hello, Ella. How are you? I know you're waiting for this. I just want you to sit down in a comfortable position. Because if I just did this straight away, you might fall over.
I know, Ella, he is.
What?
You're a slacker because you haven't done the video.
Yes. Of what?
What you just did for Ella.
Well, you want a separate video?
Yes, so that she could just do a replay.
Oh, I see. I can't see your face. You weren't looking at my face, Ella, when I moved my knees from one side to the other. My face was the last thing you were looking for. Bad girl. Bad girl. What you gonna do?
Well, when we get the doors put on, because one of the doors we're getting put on the house has the word principal, because they're old school doors.
Yes, my office door.
Yep, so he's got all you girls coming into his
Yes,
office.
all your girls will spend time outside on the wooden bench waiting to come in for your punishment. You've been a bad girl, haven't you, Ella? No excuses. I want you to take this down and do it 100 times. So what you're looking at the back there is sand, and the machinery comes in, we believe, next week. And I'll show you little bits of video of that. And then the bricks go around, the footings, and big mob of sand comes in, and then the concrete. And then we shall have the beginning of an empire. Well, bigger house. So Vinny's got lots of work ahead of him. He's well aware of that, I'm sure. But he's a tough bugger. He'll push through this.
Oh yeah, Ella. Yeah. Oh look, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you the story. Right. Bless our Chihuahua when she was alive. Now, you all know the size of a Chihuahua, yeah? A small Chihuahua. Picture it, small Chihuahua. Picture someone who wears size 13 shoes. That person grabs his sock, cuts the toe.
It was cold.
Cuts the toe end out of it and shoves the dog in the sock to make like a
She was warm, but
Like a-
I must admit her breathing was slightly restricted.
like a dog thing.
She was stiff as a board.
Like
Oh,
a
this is
dog
a bit
jumper.
tight.
Oh my god! I wish I had taken photos back then, because this little Chihuahua ended up looking like a sausage dog with this sock that I had to cut off her
But she was
because
warm.
it was too tight.
She was warm.
Oh my god!
Couldn't move, but she was warm.
Poor dog. She couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. Yeah, so that's a poor thing. And mind you, the dog and the sock were never in the same room again when Seeds was around.
No. Our daughter's got 2 Chihuahuas, and they come around. They're different. They're both different. I'm sure some of you have seen them. And I just know what they're going to do. When we put the extension on, we're having a very open living area, and it's all going to be hardwood floors. Nice, but these dogs are going to do like laps, running. It's going to be the Chihuahua Express. Hello, Buttercup.
Hey, Buttercup. B-Mac, Vinny, it's hard to say when he'll be home because he's got to do rehab. And that depends, well, he's healing pretty quickly actually. I think he's doing well, but it just depends how quick he responds to treatment. So I don't know if he's listening. He could be listening. He might be able to tell you.
He'll go through a process, and
Yeah.
it'll be like explained what needs to be met and sort of things to be done, and then he will go home, and he will have people come round and continue the therapy with him, or he may go to a place for therapy. But
He is
wherever-
going to a place for therapy.
no, I mean after he gets home, he may do visits to there.
Just waiting for things to start, Ellen.
All the plans are finished, Ella. We're just about to start construction, so it's not far away.
Oh my god, then my house will be a mess.
Yep.
Because the now kitchen, I'm sure some of you have seen our little kitchen. We have to move all that stuff into a bedroom to use as a kitchen.
Mm.
When they rip the floor up to
But
bring
it won't
the
be for long.
old into the new. And so we've been pretty busy lately actually, apart from organising all this stuff, buying some extra things and doing family things and looking after grandkids.
Yeah.
We haven't, yeah, and I'm behind on putting my videos up.
You've got one finished, though, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's out of sequence. I have to finish another one first. I don't mind moving and renovating.
I have a lot of skills, and the only reason I'm not building all of my own home is now I just don't have it in me to do so.
Oh my god, we make you
But
kidding,
I
aren't
think
you?
I could go to California and I could spend very little time fully refurbishing the LM by using
A match.
petrol, gas, and maybe a lighter. I mean, a match is a bit crude, but a lighter. And would make an excellent video
There's no
and solve all the problems of contamination that's within the boundaries of the said vehicle.
there's no way I would let him there, VMAC. He'd come back with maggots. Mind you, you could go fishing with them.
The truth is, no one has to do anything against this person because he is self-destructive. He's just destroying his body. I have no doubt that he'll be heading to hospital within the near future.
Oh, hear the magpies?
It's magpie mating season, and about 10 o'clock at night they start and they don't stop till dawn. One of the strangest things in my life, Buttercup, and I mean this sincerely, is I've seen many people, when they're elderly, give up smoking. Then they die. It's, obviously they're old, I wear that, and they've smoked a lot of their lives, but I think there's a change in the balance of the body when they stop completely. So I'm not a scientist, but I would suggest there is something to it. I've already told you. Do you want me to tell you the Susan Brown stripper story?
Yeah, VMAC.
That's a good story, but I'll save that for another night. You've had a story tonight, Susan.
I mean, yeah, to get maggots, And do you know, like, if they get in your skin or in your body, this is disgusting. But how hard it is to get them out? You need to shine a light in the entrance so that they'll follow the light out. Yes, it's true.
No, maggots don't eat live flesh; they eat dead flesh.
Yeah, but they get in. Maggots get in into folds of skin.
My grandfather told me a story where maggots were a priority during the First World War because wounds that were infected and starting to go gangrenous, they would bound and put in maggots.
I know that
to eat the dead flesh.
But they create a hole and then and they purposely still do it in some countries. And to get them out, they shine a light of the point of entrance, and that draws the maggots back out.
That's probably a bit extreme, Soggy, but some people... It's like I knew a friend of mine who ended up with a stomach issue and had to feed himself with a tube. And you all know what I'm talking about. It's one of those things that the process you can't eat through the mouth. He would, on occasions, and this is not a joke, cook up a nice big steak, cut it up, chew it, and then spit it out. So it's a bit same as the tracheotomy with a cigarette. I think we get warning signs. Smoking is not good for you, but the biggest killer in my country is obesity. It's the number one killer, followed then by heart disease, then by smoking. Smoking used to be number one for decades, but it's obesity because there are so many different things. Obesity can lead to cancer. Obesity can lead to a heart attack, and you're putting your body under an enormous stress. So, like I say, things have changed. I really am angry that the fast food industry and the soft drink industry do not have warnings on their cans, because when I buy a packet of tobacco, it has lots of warnings. And they're all true.
Give me a warning. Excuse me, I'm going to...
But a can of soda, just one can, you're looking at up to 10 or more teaspoons of sugar per can. No one gets told that.
But buying the diet one's worse.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's a case of things that are bad for you, like tobacco, are labelled in my country, but soft drink and sugary drinks, milk drinks like, choc milk and chocolate coffee, cold drinks, they have tons of sugar in them. It's the number one killer around the world now in the Western world is obesity, because it leads to so many other things: visceral fat build-up on organs, pancreatic failure, liver failure, gallstone problems, heart failure, loads of problems. I mean, our bodies are meant to be a certain weight within a range, and I never would ever attack anyone that's overweight, but I would suggest maybe what they're doing is not working. Yeah, it's a double whammy, VMAC. They go and get the fast food, which God knows what's in it. Some people say there is meat, but I'm not real sure. And then they have pop with it. No, I'm a big orange juice drinker, naturally squeezed orange juice, and because I think the vitamin C is really good for you. I probably have 1.5 glasses to 2 glasses a day. I drink a lot of water. We eat reasonably healthy. I do fry things from time to time, but a lot of the food we generally cook is fresh. Like tonight's meal, I don't know if you've seen the video I put up. I did one in real time, from the process of putting it into the pan to the finished product. And the stir fry took about 10 or 12 minutes. It doesn't take long, and I can tell you it was awesome. Did you like tonight's stir fry, boss?
Yeah. but
She didn't like the extra chili in there. See what I'm dealing with, girls? Do you see what I'm dealing with? I'm going to have to get a sister wife who can handle the heat.
oh, you've got plenty here to choose from. Pick one of them.
Oh, I'd have to pick all of them. If I just mention Ella, they'd be right.
Yep.
But I think one of the issues we face is that I've got friends. Our daughter was overweight for a little while recently. She's made a very concerted effort and she's lost a lot of weight. She looks really good. But she had to make herself aware. No one telling her or telling you will ever solve the problem. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone says, oh, you're a bit overweight, the last thing you're going to do is please that person by losing weight. So it's a one thing. It's you. It's your decision. If you're comfortable in your skin, I don't really care. I know you've been on a bit of a concerted effort. 15 pounds is overweight. Is not really much, but you shouldn't lose it fast.
I don't quite.
I don't like diets. The
We
word
don't.
diet I don't like.
We don't work in pounds, so what's that? We
4
work
kilo.
in.
3.5, 4 kilo.
My phone is cold and it's not allowing the charge.
You
to
should
work.
never be judged on your weight. That's really one of the cruelest things that people do. If you were my really close friend, and if Sid's come up to me and give me a big hug and said, do you think I'm a little bit chunky? I'd say, yep. But only because she's my friend. I wouldn't say that to a stranger or someone I didn't know.
What's
I
that?
only say something like that if you care about something. If someone came up to me that knew us and was a bit upset about being a little bit overweight,
Yeah.
and I'd just use the same words my grandfather told me. Whatever you're doing now is not working, so stop doing it. Do something different. Doesn't mean you have to change your diet drastically. One of the simplest methods of eating less is to have a smaller plate. I know that sounds really strange, but imagine your dinner plate and imagine your side plate. Well, make your side plate your dinner plate. You can't put that much on there. But we only have one rule in our house, and it's not really a rule, it's just what happens, is we only eat when we're hungry. I did it again today. I prepped a bit of the stir fry and I said to the wife, you feeling hungry now? She said, no, a bit later. So it was a couple of hours later.
I have to turn my phone.
Then I cooked it.
I have to turn my phone off for 5.
Why?
I think the cold weather affected it, and
Oh, right.
the battery just went from 30% down to nothing.
What you don't see is that we eat loads of fruit. Blueberries, oranges, mandarins. The wife eats a lot of apples.
Blueberries, chocolate. I think give up chocolate.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. Hi. I mean, it's one of those things that I find if you know when you feel uncomfortable, everyone knows what I'm saying here. When you get to a point you think, oh, geez, and you go to pull your pants up and go, well, that's a bit tight. And you realise that, you don't need anyone to tell you. You think, oh, okay. And it's usually the things that get me is I'll have extra chocolate or extra ice cream. And it's like, I say to myself, I don't count those because they're not my meals, but they are going into my body. And they will turn from sugary into fats without much issue.
And the other mistake people make, if their life activity
I'd have
goes
90
down.
every day, Sids. I would have 90 degrees every day. Wouldn't worry me.
What's that? In Celsius?
32, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Can we swap places, Sids? We've got 1 degrees here tonight. I don't know what that is in
Elasticated
Fahrenheit.
waist, a woman's best friend. See, it still fits. I know people, and this is the truth, this is a scientific fact. I know people who will use the words, I have a genetic or a issue with my body that doesn't allow me to lose weight. And in fact, the scientific report agrees with them, but only agrees with 2% of the population. In other words, it's a fact, hormonal or genetic reasons, some people will have weight,
Well,
eating very little.
yeah.
But that's only 2% of the population. So if you fall into the 2% of the population, there's not much you can do. But it's a simple fact of what goes into the body, and if it's not burnt up, used as energy, it stays. The human body is unique. like most primates, what the human body does, if you eat more than you need, the body will store it as fat. Now, fat is not bad. I mean, if we talk about Ella and me living 2,000 years ago in a cave, we'd eat every 3 or 4 days if I killed a gazelle or half a dozen rabbits, and we'd eat like a king. We'd pig out.
Well,
But the truth is, if you ate that way all the time and you don't burn up the energy, you keep it. So what goes in has to be burnt to come out. So our body is not hating us by putting on weight. It's a natural phenomenon, later period, because it thinks you're not going to feed it again. The genetics in your body say, we better keep storing all this up until you get to be 800 pounds. And then the body says, actually, we've got plenty of fat, but my heart's just given away. But it's true. It is really true.
Well, that's right, VMAC. People who say that, if they're actually made to sit down and write down what they eat, they'd be surprised what they would eat.
That's one of the best methods I've ever heard, is that you just have a diary, and you've got diaries that say like 1 o'clock in the morning all the way through till midnight the next night. Anytime you eat, whatever it is, if you just write 3 p.m, had a piece of cake, glass of milk, 2 oranges, and you write it down. And then you keep doing that. And then if you actually flick through your diary after a few weeks and you realise, geez, I eat a lot of food. And the way that it was shown to me is that this guy that ran this course with the diary method, not a diet method, just the diary method, he called one of the guys in and one of the girls in who were not losing weight at all. And he said, I'm going to show you something. And he took them both into the kitchen. And on one table was what the guy ate all week, and the other table was what the girl ate all week. And it was an enormous amount of food. It was staggering. Both those people realised right then that even though they were writing it down, they weren't taking any notice of it. In other words, they were following the guidelines about what you eat, you write down. But when they saw the physical evidence of what they'd eaten in 7 days, it was staggering. So he didn't have to say any more. They realised that writing it down allowed this guy to then show them what they'd eaten. And then they both looked at each other and said, yep, we have a lot of work to do, because it's habits. How many of you have the same habit, like you'll get up in the morning, maybe you're quite frugal, you only have a bowl of porridge and an apple, but then about 9 o'clock you have a piece of cake, an ice cream, 11 o'clock you'll have 2 sandwiches, then around 1 o'clock you think, I better have lunch. And all of a sudden, without realising it, you're consuming an enormous amount of energy. And that's what I call food. It's energy. And you're storing it. You're like a solar panel. You're just storing all that energy. Unfortunately, the body will keep storing it. That's how it's designed. And it won't use it unless you burn it off. There's many ways to burn it off. There's a yin and yang with food intake. One is you cut down the amount of food you eat. You don't have to do that much exercise to maintain a balanced weight. If you eat an enormous amount of food, which is fine, you've got an enormous amount of exercise to burn it up. So if you've got to reach a balance somewhere where people don't like doing a lot of exercise, but the only method I would ever suggest to anyone is what we do, and that is eat when we are... Actually, you are up there, Buttercup, because one of the...
Okay, VMAC.
All right, VMAC, bye-bye. One of the facts in science is that combining certain foods with your body has trouble processing them together. And the best example was an experiment done in the 60s where people just ate potatoes, carrots, and I think it was beef. And they ate big meals, but they lost weight because the body could consume them quite easily.
Yeah, and certain foods...
And then someone ate masses of bread and porridge
like
and
me.
cake, and
Oh, no, not cake.
and then the body just had an enormous trouble dealing with them. If you only ate, say, meat, that's all you ate, wouldn't be the best thing for you, but your body could process that very simply. Processing starts immediately in the first part of your stomach. Immediately.
But
Within seconds, the enzymes and the acids that are in and alkalines within your body break down the foods, take away the nutrients it wants, pushes. It could take 100 vitamins a day, and your body would poo out most of them because it doesn't want all that stuff.
certain foods mixed together does counteract each other and does help you lose weight, because we've got a diet in Australia called the Heart Foundation diet where they put heart patients on it, and it's weird things like 2 frankfurts, a cup of cauliflower, whatever else, and then every night you get a cup of ice cream as well.
Yeah, Ella's knocked it on the head though. It throws the body into ketosis. What that means, ketosis means that your body, it's about what we do, literally, Ella. We only eat when we're hungry, so we haven't eaten since 4:30, 5 o'clock. We won't eat again. Maybe a piece of toast in the morning, but that means about 12 hours has passed. So what does that really mean? Well, that means the body has plenty of time to process what it needs to do, doesn't put the stomach under duress or extra pressure, and then the next meal you put in knows that it's the process again. Hello, Los, how are you? But I'm not an expert, but I do know what works, is that I'm conscious. I mean, when I was a younger man, I'd eat enormous amounts of food, but I'd be burning up most of it every day.
Well, what worked for me was only eating when I was hungry, and I
All right, Soggy.
See you, Soggy, and that was
Stick
very
to the road.
hard the first month.
Soggy, be careful. Watch out for old men with a large staff.
And women with high-heeled red shoes on.
Yes. One of the things I did see, and I don't like this process, is that one guy worked on the theory of eating whatever you like today and absolutely nothing tomorrow. That's a form of ketosis in itself, but it's very extreme. I truly would just say to people, when's the last time you felt hungry?
That's
And
right.
not feel like something to eat, but you feel hungry. You think, I really do. Your tummy's rumbling. I really do feel like I'm hungry. Not many people could put their hand up. We get into rhythms and systems that advertising literally teaches us. Have breakfast, dinner, lunch, afternoon tea, morning tea, maybe a snack at night time. But that's all advertising. If you truly only ate when you were hungry, there is no time. Like, I won't feel hungry now till probably 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow,
Yeah,
and it's 10 o'clock now, so that's a
no,
lot.
but we have. Don't we?
I get up and I feel like a couple of poached eggs, so I have them, but it's not always. It's not like a constant. If we're on holiday somewhere, we generally have a hotel that will have breakfast provided, and I'll be into it the first couple of days, and then it's virtually a piece of toast and a coffee, back to what I normally
Can't
would
help
do.
that when you go away.
But our bodies tell us everything we need to know. Our body is amazing. It can fix problems. If you wanted to design a physical body that could cure a lot of its own problems, you would design the human body. It's incredible. But if you push that human body beyond its means, well, it's like riding a bike with not the right suspension, or having a car with only 3 wheels. It will spin around in circles and not work that well. But the only person that should ever tell you to change your habits is yourself.
Sometimes people need to be told. They might not listen the first time, not the second. Some never listen.
I don't know whether it's a phenomenon, but I've seen in the last 20 years, kids are fat everywhere you go. Big kids. And I'm thinking, what the hell are they eating?
Oh, fast food, McDonald's,
Yeah,
Hungry Jacks,
but it's not like just a child. We're talking out of a school, probably half of the children are overweight,
and snacks.
and I don't understand why, if we worry about certain things that are harmful for us, why are we ignoring the fact that our children are becoming obese
And plus, they're
at
not
the age of 10 and 11?
because they're not also as physical as they were as we were growing up.
I agree.
Because they're all on their computer games
Yeah.
or inside watching TV.
I agree.
And one thing is because it's dangerous to let a child outside on its own these days. Where when I grew up, I could walk down the back of the property by myself, walk along the creek, come back home, and Mum wouldn't worry. You couldn't do that these days.
No, I think it's a perception that's true, but it's not as bad. But people make it out that everyone's evil, and that's not true. Susan, did you used to have a lighthouse as your avatar? Ella Bella, the investigator at the bottom of YouTube, knows all. She's just
our
pulling up your
Snoopy.
file now, Susan.
Alabella's our Snoop. VMAC is our lawyer.
Yeah, see, nothing gets past Ella, Detective Sergeant Ella Bella. But like I say, I worry that that people treat it normally, like, oh, it's normal that most of the children are overweight now. That is a worry, that if people just think it's normal, it's not normal. And there's a lot of conditions. I don't see any icons. I don't know what Susan's icon is now.
What,
On Stream.
You don't see it on Streamlabs?
On Streamlabs, all you see is the text.
Oh.
I know Susan's wearing a short black dress with high stilettos. The hair pushed back as if the breeze is gently pushing against it. She's
Red
that kind of girl.
stilettos.
Yeah, it's definitely the media. I mean, we talk about kids with computer games. What's that one that William has, that handheld thing?
The Switch.
Switch, that's very popular. And then if they're not watching that, they're watching television. If they're not watching television in the bedroom on another device, it's like the whole life is being lived online. As a kid, I would love to have had a toy like that. But I also used to going down the creek, fishing, riding my bike, going camping as a kid. No, none of these kids do that. I've even encouraged the kids. I said, look, when we get the backyard down here, we get the kids out in the tent, safe, and they can camp out. It's like, no, they don't want to do that. And I said, you'll still get Wi-Fi. Oh, that might be okay then. Yeah.
I wouldn't be camping out in this
I think
cold weather
Susan
either.
meant cute.
Huh?
Well, I really was cure as, but I think she meant cute. Bit of a typo there. Everybody's cute.
That's right.
But I think we must have bored these people enough for now. Maybe we should let them go and wander the fields of open valleys and channels available on YouTube.
What?
They might want to go somewhere else.
Oh. Yeah, the ghost train. And the number 55 bus. Our bus
We could tell a ghost story about that.
Our bus number's 55, and when we used to live at another place and sit out the front, and it'd go past like 10 o'clock at night, whatever.
No driver.
Nobody on there, and sometimes it looked like there wasn't even a driver because of the way the light was. So we go, oh, there goes the 55. Yep, Smooky.
You don't forget,
that.
do you, Susan? Smooky.
Yep, the grandson's word, Smooky.
With the grandkids, I love firing up their imagination. So I'll start a story and say, what happens next? And they go, well, the Smooky pigeon dived down from the cliff and ate a fish. So you can get your children or grandchildren involved in storytelling. It's their imagination and their artistic flair that is opened up.
It's too late now, but next time I will actually get William, our 10-year-old grandson, a story that he wrote. And it's quite good for a 10-year-old. So I will read that to you one night, if you want.
Sounds good, Buttercup. I'm sure your dog appreciates homemade food. Buttercup.
Or you could even you could read it and do a video of it.
Oh,
You're a bit better at storytelling and reading than I am.
Oh, you give it a go. Tell a story now. The Ghostly Magpies.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of the story here, right? And it's got quite a good moral to it too, actually. It's a bit sad, but yeah, I won't tell any more. I'll get Seeds to make a video with it.
Tell it, Susan, once more now. He's sort of alluring. What was that show called? 50 Shades of Grey or something? Do you like those sort of stories, Susan?
Oh my God, you're not going to do that. Do you know what that is? You don't even know what 50 Shades of Grey is.
Yes, I do. And like the fridge. Remember the movie about the fridge and they were eating it and doing stuff? I'm sure Susan's a good girl. I don't think she would like any of those stories. He stood behind her as the sun, breeze and light
Oh my God,
made her cheeks really glow.
Mills and Boons.
Yes. Lady Susan was,
Like
you
it's
see,
buffering.
Susan, she's a real nice lass. Susan was a milkmaid at the local mansion, and she knew how to make a curd or two. Darcy was nearly there. Anticipation was growing. Darcy jumped out of the cab, ran towards the front gate. Susan was there, and she stood there aghast as Darcy was wearing a wig and lipstick. She said, "My God, what's happened?" He said, "I found YouTube. Don't hold it against me. Now let me borrow your stilettos."
Your red ones.
Darcy walked off into the distance, clippity-clopping with the stilettos. Damn, Susan says. I could do a song actually of a lot of the channels on YouTube. It'd go probably something like, unremarkable in every way. There's so much self-grandiose on lots of these channels that they actually believe what they say. They have this belief that they are great. They are having an audience of millions of people, when in fact it's only a few. But that's how they seem to get their day to go spinning around for them. Oh, we always have fun with the
Oh yeah,
grandkids.
yeah. Sometimes my kids are embarrassed by the things I do, even when I go out with the kids and the grandkids.
It's like I'll sneak round the corner and yell out to one of my grandkids, "Shh, don't tell anyone. I've some survival food for you." Might just be a couple of slices of meat. And he'll hide it under his arm and sit down and eat it, and no one can see it. But there are moments that they treasure, those sort of things. They're just little things, like I said before at the start of this video. Some of the smallest things in life are very rewarding. I'll film our lunches tomorrow, but we won't involve the whole family. We'll just show you what we're getting.
No, you can just show their hands and their plates or whatever, so yeah. You don't have to show their faces. You can film without doing that.
The one thing about Australia, if wherever you live, you could be sitting in your backyard on the weekend, you'll be smelling a barbecue over there, another barbecue across the road, another barbecue behind you. All of these different flavours floating through the air. It's an aromatic experience, which then forces you to turn on your barbecue. Oh, they do. I mean, our youngest is 31 as a child, and the oldest is 40. So they grow real fast. And then we've got 8 grandchildren and another one in January. Yeah. It's one of those things, you're sitting there, you're not hungry, and then someone's got onions cooking on the barbecue, and sausages, and chops. You think, I'll go make a sandwich. Hello, Free.
Hey, Free.
I watched most of your video today. Thought it was very good. Took me back to the 70s, Free. You know, you and me with a headband, bicycling through the hills, overlooking a river with a few Indians playing drums. They're good videos. I guess some of them were shaman, I guess.
I have to watch. I haven't watched that yet.
See, I watch videos like that.
Yeah.
That interests me, but
Yeah, I haven't watched
all the
it
nonsense videos are...
yet. Youngest is 31, oldest 36, and 9 grandkids. Wow. Gee, you beat us by... Well, we've got 8.5, boys.
We'll have to do I have to get headband on in bed tonight, and I get the wife and we'll sing, all we are saying is give peace a chance. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. All we are... Join in free.
You might not want to get me singing.
Chocolate is definitely medicine.
Chocolate is definitely medicine. I am an expert on chocolate.
2 sets of twins. My goodness, I bet they keep you busy. Twins are mischievous.
Yeah, there's twins in our family too.
There's
there's
not many videos like yours around where people can actually, and it might sound silly, but you can learn something about peace, love, sharing, caring. And yet a lot of people would click on your video and go, boring, because it's not fast enough for them. It's not what they want now. You know, the immediacy that people want, like attention. Whereas I can sit back and watch your video and enjoy it. Think of all the different circumstances of the day and how much fun was had.
Only child 43.
The ceremonial grade chocolate I had yesterday was heart-opening.
Oh, that's a good word.
That's one way of saying it was nice.
Ceremonial chocolate. That's what I'll call my chocolate from now on.
Well, we could sacrifice chocolate in the better good of mankind.
Yeah.
1 small bite for Mystic Angel and the rest of the bar for me.
If you can hear that loud noise, that's actually a plane taking off.
That's a thermonuclear explosion. The war has begun.
Oh, stop it. Can you hear? That's pretty loud tonight.
Because there's no wind, it's still.
I wonder where those people are going. Do you ever, like when you're driving down the street or see a plane, you're wondering where people are going or what they're doing?
Actually, I do the reverse. When I'm in the plane, I look down and think, I bet they're all going to work. Some of them.
Both girls had a set.
I don't have much. I have chocolate, so I have sugar. I must admit that. But generally, I don't have any, or very little salt and very little sugar. Well, it's pleasant, Free, to actually watch something that has depth. Do you know what I mean? There are so many channels that are shallow.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. So
and repetitive,
tomorrow.
And boring, and argumentative.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
And most of those channels have dollar signs on them.
I'll watch it tomorrow night. Oh, I think it's time for bed in a minute.
I mean, I'm monetised, but I only get money from my AdSense, and we do give it all away and more each year in little gifts and packages and stuff. But we enjoy that. But there are a lot of channels that are very shallow now, chasing the almighty dollar at any cost. And you can say, well, that's up to them. But I find it distasteful. I find it, like I say, the word that would cover most of it for me is very shallow people.
Night bummer.
Because the biggest thing you can give anyone is time, not money.
Night boomer. Oh, you're going. Are you going, Susan?
Yeah. A lot of waylaid plans occur because you have great intentions to do things, but then squirrel, that's okay, that's life. The odd squirrel change in your thought is okay.
Haha, Bella. Are you going, Susan?
Yeah, Alice is, we're talking about healthy eating, and then Freebirdie comes and talks about chocolate.
Yes, I know.
That was subliminal.
What?
Free, she said. It meant to say videos, not Oreos. Yes, of course you did.
Have a good day.
Actually, chocolate has always been used as medicine in one form or another.
They say
Truly?
dark chocolate's better, but I just don't like dark chocolate. I like milk chocolate. Okay, Susan.
She's off to university. One of the things that highlight some of the things you do, Free, is that you're artistic. You have a creativity within you, and a lot of people have none now. It's all instantaneous gratification, want to do this, see this, buy that, whereas I understand where you come from, that you do have depth, and I'm not trying to make you into a saint, but you do have depth and you do have creativity, and that is sadly lacking in a lot of people, because everybody has a creative side to them, but they suppress it to the point that watching a show or getting online takes over. Where one day, if they could just get a pencil and maybe start drawing or painting or carving, everybody's got it within them. Everybody has an artistic creativity within them, but the media that swallows them up, and they're the same people who say, when you say we must catch up, they'll say, I don't have time. But those same people will be online for 14 to 16 hours a day, but they don't have time, which is sad. And I've come to the conclusion most of the people that I used to watch on YouTube are shallow.
Yeah, it's channels from years ago, because they changed their way of doing things. We haven't watched them 5-6 years
I think
ago.
everyone that I've stopped watching has gone to chasing money, and they've lost that. They were creative, is what I was saying, and now they've turned that creativity into a cashier machine, wanting money ahead of creativity.
Yes, that's true, Free Birdie. That's why I only do mine when I have got time, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
That's why sometimes for months I don't put anything up. But I'm not monetized. I'm only a small channel, but...
Oh, that will go for most of us. Shortly, people like me won't make any monetization.
I am one of those.
And I'm fine with that. I won't change what I do.
No, I don't care. I like putting videos together because I enjoy putting videos together. I'm going in a minute.
Yep, I think we've bored these people long enough. Thank you all for coming tonight. And there's the chosen one over there.
The chosen one.
Yes. Actually, if I do that,
Love you.
gives you that Greta Garbo look.
What?
I'm ready for my shot now, mister. Go me. Anyway, I shall say, have a great day if you're just waking up, or if you're going to bed, sleep well, and be kind to most people you meet. Those people that you need to stand on their throat and pull their arms up at the same time, don't be frightened to do it, because you're probably helping them in many ways that they're unaware of. You're bringing out their creativity. Anyway, have a wonderful day.
Yes,
and
we will have good sleep.
We'll catch